Hello, Martin Petts here from F24. Welcome to this new video in our COVID-19 series. And today we're looking at business transformation for the new normal. So how do we keep our staff safe, our business competitive, and our organisation running smoothly going forward? So to set the scene, here in New Zealand and a couple of other countries around the world, we could potentially look at eradication of the COVID-19 virus by calendar quarter Q3 this year, 2020. This is in stark contrast to countries like Sweden that have taken a less strict lockdown approach, and other countries like the UK and the US that maybe started thinking one way and perhaps have changed the way they're running things, and they're not going to be eradicating the virus anytime soon. Just last week, actually, the World Health Organization said that COVID-19 could really be around for a long time, perhaps indefinitely. You might be looking at COVID-19 being similar to viruses and diseases like AIDS, measles, flu, for example, and not actually going away ever. Vaccines can take time and also can potentially not be 100% effective. So COVID-19 is not going away. So what happens to countries like New Zealand that have or will have eradicated COVID-19 from their borders? How do countries like New Zealand open for business again? So as countries like New Zealand open up their borders again, it's very likely that there'll be a second wave of infection. So instead of the new normal, there'll actually be a new way of working that's permanent, and we cannot go back to the old way of working. Businesses and organisations will need to adapt to a world where they're a lot more agile and responsive to a multitude of challenges and changes on perhaps a daily or even hourly basis. Working from home will become a lot more common. I just spoke to a couple of financial companies last week going through their return to work programs, and people want to stay working from home. They've been enabled through the IT infrastructure to be able to work from home, but it also makes sense from an organisational perspective because they need to space out staff more in the office, and the capacity for staff being in the office is a lot less. People working from home will adapt their lives in different ways. So there will be more time for people to do online shopping during work hours at home. They'll also be in the house to be able to receive deliveries from orders that they've made online. So the whole life of people will become more digital. You've just got to look at countries like UK and other European countries where high streets have become a lot less busy, shopping malls, footfall has reduced significantly. It's a huge opportunity for companies to adapt to this new digital life. So companies that provide websites, provide digital marketing advice, social media agencies, people that can help with selling and elevating companies in front of their competition online will all become very key in this new way of working. So winning companies will be companies that can provide a compelling online experience that's second to none. So what does this all mean for our businesses and organisations? How do we plan for the next wave, for the new way of working that's going to be so different to the way that we worked before? So you've got to remember, this is also a huge opportunity for us to rise up over and above our competition, scale these obstacles that we've got in our way and make sure that we win going forward. So just as a quick example, Google says that 76% of people that Google a local business on their smartphone will visit that business within 24 hours. A local off-licence or bottle store here did not endear themselves to me over the lockdown, where they did not communicate their new closing times or processes for the lockdown. And I subsequently was frustrated by going out, turning up at the store and finding them closed after 5 p.m. when they were originally open till 10 p.m. And I didn't realise that we needed to know what wine we needed to order, and we couldn't go into the store. We had to tell them what we needed. And I was left frustrated and felt under pressure in the queue and in the way that we needed to buy our product. So companies really need to look at their digital transformation for the new normal. They need to make sure that they are communicating over their websites, making sure their Google listings are up to date, making sure they just communicate and update customers efficiently and accurately. So we need to work differently in the new normal and reflect our new processes. We don't want to waste customers' time, and we certainly don't want to risk their safety. And social media is a great way to keep in contact with your customers, with your public. It doesn't have to all be witty posts on your social media pages. Make sure that you're informing and communicating the essential information as well. Also remember that social media is a very, very easy way for customers to express their displeasure. News travels fast on social media, so make sure that you're managing it and monitoring it correctly. Tune in to your customers' conversations, understand their new expectations and their feedback for your new ways of working, your new processes in the new normal. Make sure that your website is easy to use, user-friendly, just again to make sure that people are wowed by your service, by your company, by your brand. A cosmetics company increased business by 200% by redeploying beauty advisors to be online influencers on Instagram and YouTube. A service garage that saw its physical visitors decline significantly over the lockdown deployed some of its mechanics to make car maintenance videos on YouTube, and they've seen bookings for after the lockdown grow significantly too. But also remember that you need to manage your COVID-19 branch lockdowns effectively. And we talked about this in a previous video, but you need to be agile and responsive around any situation that may arise in the new normal that you're not so used to. So make sure you've got those processes and tools in place. And as I say, we discussed that in the previous video. Lastly, please subscribe to this channel and you'll be notified when new videos come out in this series. So thanks very much. That's all for today, and we'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.